The first Earth Day was celebrated almost 50 years ago in 1970 as a time to honor and protect our environment. Whether it's improving our air quality or planting seeds, there are many organizations around Louisville doing that work year-round. We'll show you a few ways you can help and maybe even get your hands dirty. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the 502 Report. How can we get more people to eat their veggies? Digging in the dirt with the Food Literacy Project might just work wonders.
A lot of people have never had a positive experience with a vegetable, and yet almost everyone has had a negative experience with a vegetable. We know that children will want to eat vegetables if the food tastes good. Those hands-on experiences can really be powerful motivators for young people to seek out fresh and healthful food. It's a totally different experience when you're harvesting it yourself. You're making choices about what goes in the dish based on what you like, and it's a very empowering experience. We are at the Food Literacy Project's outdoor classroom at Oxmoor Farm, which is a dynamic working vegetable farm. We've got students here today from Foster Elementary School, and they're going to be doing a field study with us, exploring what's growing on the farm, what vegetables they might find in the fields this morning, and really exploring where food comes from.
So we are going to put 3 challenges for you all today. One challenge that I'm going to give you all today is to get your hands dirty.
I remember something a whole lot better if I'm actively participating, whether it's in the conversation or getting my hands dirty. Those things last a little bit longer, and I think coming out to this setting that's really different from a classroom but still having a really educational day, it makes a big impact, and it affects, especially at a younger age, the students that need to be moving around. They have the opportunity to do so here, and so I think that it really sticks with them.
The word is respect. What does it mean to be respectful? What are some ways we could show respect?
First of all, learn the plant parts dance and think about the different parts of the plant that we eat.
Leaves, flower, fruits, seeds.
Then we take a lap around and try some different things. Today we got to enjoy our spring asparagus, some mint, and a top favorite of the kids is the sour sorrel.
Does anybody need a second taste of it?
Yep.
We don't so much care about can every student identify every vegetable. It's much more about what does it smell like? Have you ever tasted that before? Focusing on the 5 senses, because that will stay with them.
One of the most impactful parts of our food system is the fact that it travels so far. Well, think about the difference that 20 steps is versus 2,000 miles. We have some shots of us spending time at Truck Farm together, and I think Truck Farm is an amazing example of how you can grow a garden anywhere. So whether it's in the bed of a truck or a plastic bucket in your backyard, you can grow food and be a part of this movement to try and make food system more local, more sustainable, and to participate in it more. And so I think that's one way having a more local food system really impacts sustainability in our environmental situation these days.
We find that when children are exposed to that story and really explore it in a hands-on way, they're much more curious about trying healthful foods and willing to taste new foods and try vegetables.
It's empowering, and that's the goal of our mission, is to empower youth to then take this home and take this into their communities, and the ripple keeps growing, and that everybody, whether it's through a conversation with these students or just the way that these students start to think about things, it affects everyone around them, and I think that impact is just really powerful.
I will never forget the first time I grew a vegetable that didn't die and I could eat it. The more these kids can be outside and explore healthy foods in a fun way, in a kind of learn by discovery sort of way, the more motivated they will be to try new foods, to cook from scratch, and to embrace a healthy lifestyle.
To volunteer or learn more about the Food Literacy Project, call 491-0072. If you've been inspired to try your hand at gardening, but you don't have a space of your own, you might be interested in Acre Community Farm, with plots starting at just $10.
Welcome to Acre Community Garden. We are so glad you are here. We have something for everyone and every skill level and every age. We are the largest community garden in Jefferson County. We have over 350 garden plots. We have an organic section, we have a non-organic section, we have a year-round section, we have micro plots, little beginner plots if you know nothing about gardening, right up by the office managers trailer where I can help teach you. I offer classes and advice, warm plants after Derby, but kale, your cold plants now before Derby. So
Okay.
you're not too late. You're just
Oh,
right on
good.
that edge.
Good. Okay.
Susan, as a new garden manager on the first year, said that she was interested in establishing an herb garden. And I said, oh, I'll do it. This is the lemon thyme.
I love that.
So from the culinary side, we have like basil and cilantro and dill and peppermint and lavender. And for the medicinal side, we're now looking at doing like turmeric and ginger, some of those things.
These are,
Creeping
they
thyme.
go up front.
Altogether, we have a very interesting herb garden. It is open to the community. We just ask if you pick the herbs, stay and pick some of the weeds to go along with it.
Here's our renter row, and you can plant a lot of things in the row. They're very affordable, only $10 for the whole year. It is 2 feet by 30 feet, which allows you to have some garden, be out, have some community, but it only requires an hour a week worth of work.
Why is that yellow?
Dying.
No. Not anymore.
If you know nothing about gardening, never fear. We will not let you plant your plants upside down. Roots go in the ground. We have all the tips and tricks. And you also are neighbors with very experienced gardeners. I'm looking at this as though this is a gardener, but this is Mr. Peters, and Mr. Peters is 92 years old, and he is a wonderful gardener.
People are always willing to help and interface. All you have to do is come out, give it a try.
Just last night, we had a gardener who grew their own plants, brought them out, but they had too many. We had another gardener who just decided to join. They shared plants, they shared ideas. This is Miss Betty. I love Miss Betty. She comes out every morning. She's already been out and got her stuff planted. This is Miss Rose that just found out about us this year, and she is so excited to be out. And then she brought her friend Patty. This is Jennifer and her daughters. She is more experienced gardener. She started every one of these plants at home. She did not buy a single plant. Jennifer is one of the gardeners that you could learn from. So again, the size needs to fit your time commitment. A full plot takes 7 hours a week minimum to maintain. If you want it to look really pretty, you need to do about 10 a week. I love it here. I don't know if you could tell, it's
Greek oregano. Well, I think this is a wonderful resource for people. I live in a subdivision and you can't have a garden. I mean, you have the homeowner association rules and they say, for some reason, tomato plants in the front yard, they just frown on it.
It's a healing place here. I have people that come here, they come out here and it's the de-stress and the unwind and to get centered. I had a teacher that came and she needs to heal from the classroom. And it's a wonderful place to do that. I have people recovering from cancer. I have people recovering from loss. Spouses have passed away. So it's a very healing place.
Seeing the people wanting to do something. They want to come out, they want to teach their children about where food comes from. And so they can come out, get a row or a quarter of a plot and practice with it, see if they like it.
We grow herbs, we grow plants, but we also grow a community and we grow a fellowship. Some people have developed lifelong friends here.
Learn more about Blackacre at blackacreconservancy.org. In 2010, the USDA reported more than 130 billion pounds of food went to waste. Fortunately, a local collective is working to turn some of our food scraps into a community resource.
It's just down the street a little ways. Everyone can do something little to make a big impact. I just decided, I'm tired of carrying out wet garbage bags that are breaking. I think the people of Louisville want to do it because I want to do it, so let's do it.
Every time we don't throw away kitchen scraps, we feel good. We used to compost ourselves, and then it takes a long time, it takes effort, it takes thinking about it and planning. And we've got 2 little kids, and we both work, and so we just don't have enough time. So once we get our banana for Emmett, what do?
This is great because we just forget about it and they do it for us and we pay a nominal fee and it makes us feel really good.
Start small.
We will about compost.
Yes, we do. Okay.
Thanks for composting, dude. That's why we do it. Small impact feeds into a big impact. Other cities, Boston, New York, San Francisco, even the small city of Portland, Maine was doing it. So I figured, and I can do my part and try and get people to do their part. It's something that I think is of benefit to the people of Louisville, so, and to the world. Composting is important because it's a way to remove food scraps that would otherwise end up in landfills. And the product of that is typically methane and other very potent greenhouse gases. And it's wasteful. What we want to do is an aerobic process, so microbes that require oxygen in order to break foodstuffs down. So we have to turn it to aerate the pile, make sure we're getting plenty of moisture and oxygen in there to feed, keep the microbes and worms happy. Look at a nice little baby worm there. They work the third shift, I guess you could say. The darker it is, you can tell it has a lot of moisture content. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. So that is a lot of worm poop. Making sure that we get down to the finest compost we can get. And it's just feeding into the circle rather than making a line. Our first week we started weighing, we had like 130 pounds of food scraps that we were putting into the compost pile. Pretty big impact. It adds up. So we're trying to make it easy for people.
We take it outside, put it in the red bin, and then we forget about it. It's really great. It helps us save on trash. It makes us feel like better environmental citizens.
Go to our website, LouisvilleCompost.com, and sign up there. Do something small, build it into something big.
Monitoring our city's air quality is an important job, and now with stricter standards, CARE is reaching out with a few tips and to ask for our help.
Air quality affects our health on a daily and hourly basis. CARE stands for Kentuckiana Air Education. The air quality in Louisville is better than it has been. We've regulated industry quite a lot. Power plants have made a lot of changes, more efficient and cleaner. We've just gotten to the point where we've regulated things quite tightly. We need the public's help in reaching the air quality standards we're so close to. Anytime that you're burning fuel, you are adding emissions to the air, whether that's the fuel that warms your house or the fuel that runs your car. So one of the things that we encourage people to do is to be idle-free. When your car is sitting there running and you're not going anywhere, turn it off. Get rid of emissions that are not productive. If I could get everyone to check their tire pressure to make sure that it's at the correct level, we'd be getting not only better fuel efficiency and saving money on gas, but you're also doing something to help the air. Another easy way to help the air would be to plan your trips using Waze, so that, say there's congestion, a traffic jam in your area. If you can go around that and avoid that, you're actually saving your own time. It's saving your gas because you're not sitting in that stall. Cars are getting cleaner. Engineers are building them to be much more efficient and to meet better fuel standards. The choices as you make every day, they may seem small, but if we all work together, we can make our area's air cleaner and healthier for everybody.
What else can you do to help? Go to helptheair.org to find out. When we drive our vehicles or even throw trash away, we're contributing to the greenhouse gases in our environment. And like a greenhouse gases help trap heat in our environment, which is good unless there are too many.
Greenhouse gases are emitted every day when you turn on the lights or drive a vehicle or even throw waste materials in the garbage that goes to the landfill. All of those things generate emissions that contribute to the greenhouse gas effect. We have conducted a greenhouse gas inventory where we identified all the emissions that are released in the community, and we set a goal of reducing those greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. That's going to mean that the air will be cleaner, the residents will be healthier, and companies can also save money by reducing their energy use, which contributes to reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. It is very important for people to take actions at home, and really anything you can do at home will also reduce your energy bill. So turn off your lights when you're not in the room. Use alternate forms of transportation. Walking, biking, all these things as a mode of transportation are great. Using less energy at home will definitely have an impact if all 760,000 residents of the community work together to do that. What we're doing now is we're identifying the actions that we will take to achieve that 80% reduction goal. It's really important to the community because it's going to help clear the air, make our residents healthier, save people money by using less energy in their organizations. It's going to be great for the future of the community and quality of life.
Luckily, there are a lot of ways to reduce the amount of energy we use. In 2017 and 2018, the city helped businesses and residents invest in greener roofs in our community.
We launched a Cool Roof Rebate program in the spring of 2017, and it was launched primarily as a result of the need to try to manage the urban warming that we're seeing. We have a really rapidly warming urban heat island situation in Louisville, so cool roofs are a way to help manage the urban heat island. And through that program, we've been able to provide incentives in the range of $300,000. 60% of that went to properties in the west and southwest part of the community where the heat is a little bit higher. We have been able to incentivize roughly 750,000 square feet of cool roof across the city. At the residential level, a lot of the shingles are not really more expensive. You just have to know that you want to ask for Energy Star certified shingles. And that was the goal of the incentive program, was to be able to offset any potential increase in charges over the cost of a traditional roof. But the big thing about it has been the value of the education of the program, because we were able to show folks in the community that they're not white. They're actually pleasant, soothing colors, and they even come in a traditional shingle for homes as well as the metal roofs. The good news about cool roofs is it also helps save energy at home, so people will use less energy, especially in the summer, because they don't have a black roof that's heating up their whole home.
Trees provide shade, help absorb excess water, and even clean our air. But from 2004 to 2012, the city of Louisville lost 7% of its tree canopy. That's 54,000 trees each year.
It takes a long time for a tree to grow big enough to be able to have a real measurable effect. The larger the tree, the more leaves it has, the more it's producing oxygen and cleaning the air for us. In our parks, we're very sensitive to providing and improving animal habitat. So not only are there birds that might pass through, but there's a lot of insects that use trees. Another great thing about planting trees is it's just a feel-good community event. Everyone that comes out and plants trees goes home with a real sense of accomplishment. But they're doing something for future generations, and so that always has kind of an inherent feel-good quality to it.
Trees create shade on impervious surfaces, which helps deter that heat. They help cool things down by evapotranspiration, by putting water back out into the air in intense heat, and causing reflection off of the leaves versus reflection right off of the pavement. One thing that is important to establish is that it's not just city government that can make an impact on the declining tree canopy or these intense urban heat islands. The community overall need to make an impact. It is partners like Trees Louisville, Louisville Grows, Olmsted Parks Conservancy, other city entities, what they do with the properties they manage. Residents in Louisville especially should care about this because this has significant health impacts. This heat that is produced in these urban heat islands causes just stress on the human body in the respiratory area. This lack of trees and increased heat, this encourages more air pollution to be ingested into our bodies. To be a part of a competitive city, I think trees have to be considered part of the infrastructure. We have to rely on the community as a whole to step up.
All right, now remember the lasagna technique.
To make this issue better for us and really for future generations, for this city to prosper.
Help rebuild Louisville's tree canopy by volunteering for a planting with Louisville Grows or Trees Louisville this fall. Thanks for watching this episode of the 502 Report. In case you missed it, here's a look at the 215,000 daffodils that bloomed in April along I-64 West and 71 South. This is the second year they've bloomed since being relocated for the Ohio River Bridges project. Anonymous donors gave $150,000 to plant the bulbs, which will bloom each spring for many years. Call 574-2613 to volunteer or help support Brightside.